Que levante la mano todo el que está haciendo dinero. Que venga el año nuevo, yo voy a gozarlo entero. Un día de esto llega mi amor verdadero, pero quiero hacerme rico primero. 2026 y yo sigo soltero. W ando con todos mis vaqueros. Me monté en la Cybertruck y me acordé de la Montero. De los viejos tiempos, ya mismo me hago bici sin dejar de ser hetero. Ya mismo voy a tener un hijo, un heredero. Yo extraño en la calle, la disco y el putero. Pero yo voy a seguir hasta que me caiga el caballo y se me pierde el sombrero. Este año será mejor que el anterior, yo lo sé. Que tú te ves mejor en ropa interior, yo lo sé, yo lo sé. Ey, yo sé, mente bandido, mi verbo sé. Pero hasta ahí, yo hasta ahí, mami hasta ahí. Vamos a vivir el hoy, porque mañana yo no sé qué va a pasar. Me siento triste, pero se me va a pasar. Mi vida está cabrona, ey, yo no me quiero casar. La 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 la, yo no me quiero casar, ey. Por ahora celibato, voy a gozar un rato, yo no me quiero casar. 2016 arrebato por la pasar. Mi casa de un día 100 millones para tasar. El corillo entero lo voy a engrasar. La vida es bonita, la voy a abrazar. Trabajando con cojones y nada fue al azar. Mala vibra para el carajo y nadie me va a atrasar. Ey, sorry por bostezar, ey, pero es que me aburro fácil. Si me gusta yo lo quiero, me pongo pa' eso y lo tengo fácil. Una vez me iba a casar, gracias a Dios que no, wow, diablo, pero casi. Ey, viendo la ciudad de Nueva York montado en taxi. Me puse a soñar y dije mi futuro tengo que cambiarlo hoy. Porque mañana yo no sé qué va a pasar. Me siento triste pero se me va a pasar. Mi vida está cabrona, ey, yo no me quiero casar. La 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 la, yo no me quiero casar. Me gusta el vino tinto, los atardeceres, la risa de mis amigos, la mirada de las mujeres. Que tú quieres estar conmigo, tú no sabes lo que quieres. Baby, yo soy un peligro. Ey, yo por nadie va a cambiar, siempre va a cambiar, mami, me voy a trampear, voy para la calle, acabo de recortar, yo soy papón y no fulano de tal, gracias a la vida pudimos conectar, tú me gusta, no vayas a malinterpretar, pero estoy enfocado, estoy pa' apretar, por el momento contigo no puedo estar, yo siempre he sido un hijo de puta desde estar, cierra la puerta cuando salgo y con él no molestar.
Oh. Welcome to the Roots Rundown. Today is January 30th, 2026. I am your host, Payron Baxter, on the Roots Rundown. Welcome in. We have a lot to get to. I'm sure, as you all know, there's a lot of breaking news that's been happening over the past 24 hours, but dare I say this morning. And we want to get to it so I don't take too much of your time. Welcome in, y'all. Before we get started, please make sure you like, share, subscribe to the Rattle Cruise podcast. It's how we grow. We've been growing at a very expansive clip. We're getting new followers. Folks have been joining the Roots branches. We've came up with some names for who our little squad might be here. Our burgeoning yet still dedicated squad to news, justice, and the truth here at the Radical Roots platform, the Roots Rundown. But so before we get into it, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you tell at least 100 friends about our podcast. This is how we grow. This is how we do the right thing. And if you can, as you see the QR code right, still trying to get my bearings here. Just you see the QR code right here. Please make sure you scan that and make sure if you could just donate a couple bucks. It helps us go. Every dollar goes a long way. It helps us out with the podcast. I'm really bad at asking for money, so that's why I'm like, I don't know if you guys can, please, perhaps give a buck or two. But again, it keeps us alive. And as we're seeing, and the point of today's episode, the title is "The First Amendment is Dead." We see that there is a need for independent journalism. There is a need for people who are unafraid to tell the truth, no matter the consequences. So that is one thing. If you guys could give a couple bucks, no matter how much is $1, $5, 100, a million, whatever. And we're still trying to get some sponsors out there, so we're working on that as well. But yeah, let me get this QR code off here so y'all can. Boom. Today we're talking about the press. We're talking about the press. We're talking about the need for the press and how the press is under attack, and of course the other four tenets of the First Amendment as well, right? Freedom to assembly, freedom to protest, freedom of religion, freedom of to petition your government, and of course freedom of press. So those are the 5 things we're covering today, and of course some other ancillary things. But before we get into it, I hope y'all had a great week. It's always good. I got some good feedback on some of the episodes throughout the week from some close friends, some folks who I've known through the community, folks I've known through political work. So a guest gave some good feedback as well. So again, I feel like we're doing the right thing, and I'm going to keep doing the right thing for y'all as well as one half of the Radical Roots team, and hopefully that'll grow as well. We might have other folks who want to do podcasts on the Radical Roots platform, other people who want to give their maybe legal advice or give their political advice because they're in some sort of state house. I don't know where this stuff's going, but we have to keep a dedicated eye on this white supremacist regime. That's exactly what it is. It's a white supremacist, chauvinistic, murderous regime that has no will for the Constitution at all. So, but before we get into it, before we get into the some of the First Amendment stuff, that we are averting, I guess, a government shutdown. For some reason, I won't let me share the screen, but I do want to read. It sounds like some Senate Democrats have been able to finagle. But that's the word. Are we still using finagle? Being able to pull out the DHS funding, which basically what happened was when the House voted on the appropriations for funding of this fiscal year, so basically the next 11 months, they bundled it all together and said, if you don't want to pay for your roads, your bridges, those post offices, you have to vote for ICE. And ultimately, that's where we get those 7 Democrats that, remember, it was 207 to 220 that chose to vote with the Republicans to give them the money to fund ICE. So Chuck Schumer, y'all know I got a lot of smoke for Chuckles. I got a lot of smoke for Chuckle Schumer. But he was able to do something and at least give them a 2-week reprieve. And then they're going to vote on some of the ICE or DHS funding, which again, that's where ICE's money comes from. Not like any other law enforcement where it comes from the Department of Justice. Theirs comes from the Department of Homeland Security, National Security, which again is a large problem rooted in racism, rooted in xenophobia. We get into that in other times. But these are some of the provisions from the supposed negotiations from Chuck Schumer's Senate. First, end roving patrols by ICE and customs enforcement ICE officers, and tighten rules governing the use of warrants by officers targeting migrants. Second, enforce accountability by establishing a universal code of conduct governing federal law enforcement users federal law enforcement users use of force. Third, prohibit federal officers from wearing masks and require them to wear body cameras and proper identification. So, a lot of these things are performative. A lot of these things, folks who study state violence and police accountability will tell you things like body cameras do not help. In fact, it was some of the police unions themselves that thought they wanted to get body cameras because it allowed them to sidestep any actual accountability. And there is no correlation that when there's a presence of a body camera, that there's going to be a lessened amount of state violence. I think his name is Alex Karsparian. He has a book called Propaganda, where he breaks down, he has the facts, the figures, and it's law enforcement themselves and the U.S. government that says that body cameras don't work. So the third provision here is again a bit of a solve to people who do not know, and they then chose during the Obama administration to sell that back to people as a measure of accountability for people to say, well, look, please have a body camera. But then again, body cameras can be used very nefariously against those who they inflict damage on. the police departments or law enforcement or immigration and customs enforcement, where basically they can say, when the camera shakes, the camera shakes like this in front of a jury, they can say, well, look how afraid the officer was. He had to murder that person. So that's one thing. The first one, let's go back to the first one. End roving patrols. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does ending roving patrols mean? Does that sound clear to you? Does that sound like you understand for immigration and customs enforcement and roving patrols? What are you talking about? We don't even know who these people fucking are. So I think they'll still continue to do that, and then they'll probably laugh at the people who want to hold them to account for that. Second, end accountability by establishing a universal code of conduct. Again, what's the universal code of conduct by calling someone a fucking bitch after shooting them in the face? These are people who can't read. These are people who have themselves are sexual assaulters or child traffickers or have cases of child sexual assault. And you want them to have a code of conduct? This is the middle ground that is a solve for a lot of moderates. And I have my picadillos with moderates out there who think, well, I don't want to be a crazy defund the police people. I warned you guys when they were doing crackdown on campus encampments in 2024. I mean, a lot of y'all weren't here. Radical Roots podcast didn't exist in 2024. But the people who knew me, and I would warn, I said, one day when your rights are going to be infringed and you want to yearn free to breathe by screaming loudly back at your government that you are having your rights oppressed, who will be there to stop you? The police. So now we're at a point where, since you couldn't say defund the police, because that's crazy. Me and my co-host Rob get into it about that. Oh, that's crazy. We shouldn't say that. Now look, if you couldn't say defund the police, it's really hard to say abolish ICE. Because and I use Minneapolis for a good example. So in Minneapolis, after the consent decree got put into place, after the murder of George Floyd, I want to say like 1,500 police officers quit. Someone check me on those numbers, but a lot of police officers quit. Where do you think they went? Where do you think those police officers that were so mad there was going to be accountability and there was going to be scrutiny of their policies and practices and patterns? Where do you think those people went? ICE. ICE. Now, do I know that for sure? No. But come on. Come on. These people who are washouts or who are fail sons or who just cannot take any sort of accountability, they absolutely would go to an unaccountable, lawless group of people that have federal immunity, whatever the fuck JD Vance says. They have unlimited immunity. That's what they wanted in 2020. That's why I'm gonna vote for Trump, because Trump's for the cops. It's not for the cops. If you're going to be in danger as a police officer. So, of course, police officers are not going to stop ICE. That's their buddy. That's Jim. That's Jim. I remember Jim. We used to go bust up those Negroes. We used to go bust up those Mexicans. We used to go bust up them Somalis. We go fuck up that old lady's house. They're not going to stop themselves. And, of course, body cams. So, it's a 2-week. They're going to vote out in 2 weeks. We're going to keep an eye on it. But I just want to bring that to y'all. That Chuck Schumer did something quasi good. Dare I say it's middling and not worth too much time. But as we continue on, I showed you guys yesterday the clip of Tom Suozzi out of New York who voted for ICE. That he's one of the 7 Democrats. And I said Don Davis of North Carolina, the only black person to vote for increased ICE funding. He absolutely deserves that same amount of harsh punishment. But another one of the 7, the slimy 7. MGP, not MTG, who has retired from Congress, but we're talking about MGP. This is Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. I know those are different names together, smashed together. You got Marie, that could be, European. You got Gluesenkamp, clearly some version of European. Then you got Perez. She's either married into, there's a lot going on with that name. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. She's been an op. She kind of came in as this kind of, I'm a leftist in a red area type of a Democrat, and has honestly just became a John Fetterman of the house. Now, I'm going to show you this video of her. This is her giving her response to what ICE is doing, because remember, they voted for that ICE increased funding, and then the very next day, Alex Pretti got murdered. So here is MGP, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, and her rundown and her analysis of what these crazy ICE people are doing.
Like, shit's terrible, but we have to be strategic and think clearly. And no one's talking about this.
I bet there is a visual medium here. And when I say that she's the John Fetterman of the Senate, I'm not one to sit here and nitpick on someone's fashion, but
this fact, like, ICE is pre-funded for.
Is her face cut? Look, I mean, and look, I'm doing a direct-to-camera podcast right now, but I almost feel like I need to back up from her. Like, it's like I feel like I'm intruding on her space. Like, okay, lady, we need to back up from this whole thing. But
6 years. The reconciliation bill that was passed last January means ICE can keep doing this for 6 years.
Then why would you vote to give them more money? Why would you vote in 2026 to give them more money? If your hands are so tied, why don't you be a thorn in the side? It could have been, you could have at least made it a tie. Because remember, it was 207 to 220. 7 Democrats joined with the Republicans to make it 220. You subtract 7 from 220, that gives you 213. So if just 6 of the Democrats would have stayed with the Democrats, that would have been 213. And if she just maybe said, I wish that she was present, it would have been 213, 213, and it wouldn't have passed. But now, no, she's giving us this fucking sob story. Are y'all falling for it?
The money is not, they did it before the budget was passed. They're going to keep doing it if the budget isn't passed. And so the money's not the question. The question is, what leverage do you send it?
The money's not the question. Next time you want universal health care, the next time you want roads and bridges and broadband, and they say, how are you going to pay for it? Just say what MGP says here. The money isn't the question. The money's not the question, folks. Stop it.
Dems have now to negotiate accountability right now to end this craziness. Like, I think they could negotiate to get Senate I think they could negotiate to replace Noam with someone that doesn't skirt the filibuster. I think they could get ID numbers on.
What? You're a congressperson. This is what kills me when people want to tell us, the people without power, that we have to go easy on these politicians. She is a politician. She is supposed to be the one who is wielding that power. She's telling us that we have to be strategic. Motherfucker, we voted for y'all. You have a staff and lawyers and all these people who've been working in Congress for generations that are older than you. They're lifelong staffers. They can tell you how this game works. But the problem is, one party thinks you're lazy and the other party thinks you're stupid. I would warn you all, do not be the latter. And now that you figure out which one is which. One party thinks you're lazy and the other party thinks you're stupid.
Federal law enforcement. I think they could get an end to the surge. I think they could get an investigation in Minnesota that wasn't run by the feds. I think they could get an end to the administrative warrant bullshit. There's stuff that is worth getting, because the money is not the question at this point. It's pre-funded. I know everyone feels terrible, but we have to be strategic right now.
Who is we? Who is we? Is we in the room with us? Who is we? We have to be strategic. We have to, motherfucker, you are in the halls of power and you wield power. People like this got to go. One party thinks you're stupid. The other party thinks you're lazy. I wouldn't be the former in that flip. I accidentally flipped it there. But the blame is to go all the way around. And I saw this video of this lady. I think her name is Asairi. And she does a lot of direct-to-camera videos, but she be laying out the truth, okay? And I saw this clip about performative lying. and this is so good. Check this out. And just think about our politics. Think about the Republicans. Think about the Democrats. Think about people who are just in your life who aren't political. Just think about all this shit of how we gaslight ourselves. I thought this was such a poignant clip. It's posted on my social medias, but I just wanted to share it with y'all today.
I want to talk about performative lying because I think it's especially important right now that people recognize and call it out when they encounter it. So, performative lying is when Christy Nome tells people that ICE agents were trying to push a stuck vehicle out of the snow when Renee Good encountered them, or when they say that Alex Pretti had drawn and pointed his gun at ICE agents. They are lies that bear absolutely no resemblance to what we can see actually happened with our own eyes, and it is because these lies are not designed to create spin or to convince people to perceive an event in a particular way. These are bald-faced lies that are told to assert power and to test loyalty. So this is truly the Emperor's new clothes, where the reality is the Emperor is not wearing clothes. Absolutely nobody sees clothing on the Emperor, but the performative lie is that the Emperor is wearing new clothes. And the reason why it's important to be explicit about this is because there is no point in arguing the truth with somebody who has chosen to agree with the performative lie. The administration knows that they're lying to us as a display of power. They're saying, we can claim whatever we want and there's nothing you can do about it. And people are choosing to agree with the performative lie to show their loyalty because they know if you don't agree with a lie, then you get framed as the enemy. And it's important to acknowledge that mass agreement with performative lies has always happened in the United States. White supremacy itself is a performative lie. It asserts power over the people whom it excludes by saying, we can say whatever we want about you, that you're not human, that you're property, that you're uncivilized savages, that you're criminals, that you're dirty, that you steal our jobs, that you whistle at our women, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it tests the loyalty of and controls the people whom it includes by saying you will agree with us that these other people are not human, are property, are uncivilized savages, are criminals, are dirty, are a danger to our women, or else you will be treated as the enemy too. And that makes it obvious that the same people who are telling the performative lies and agreeing with the performative lies now are the same people that they've always been. We need to call ICE and the current administration what they are, and that is the Klan and Confederates.
The truth bomb. We are being tested. You know, I saw Anand Giridharadas, author of The Persuaders. He was on, I think, Morning Joe sometime earlier this week, and he made a very similar argument that what Trump and his cronies are doing, and his lackeys and his yes men and bootlickers, what they're doing is testing us. And every time we see a masked Klansman, because Klansmen are masked, murder someone in the streets, they'll say, no, he was under threat. They'll say the person who's murdered was the terrorist. The person that murdered them was the insurrectionist, which Donald Trump is now calling Alex Pretti an insurrectionist. And these judges that are basically throwing his cases out in court, and you know he's losing these court cases, they're passing the test. They're passing the test. The question is, will we pass the test? Or are we passing the test? I don't know. I would say no. I would say writ large, we're not passing the test. I would say a lot of people are still in delusion of what's happening. A lot of people still think this can be negotiated with. A lot of people still think if you just keep your head down, go to work, go to school, get your education, get that promotion, get that parking space that you want so bad, get you cozy up next to power, your MAGA boss, that you will be saved. You will not be saved. These people can't save themselves. These people, when you have a politics rooted in lying, there's no way that you can help people. There's no way you can help yourself, even if it's so venal and so self-centered. Your outlook and your perspective, it's impossible to even help yourself. I'm tired of asking the devil for water. I'm not a religious person. No, it's an old black quote. I'm sick and tired of asking the devil for water. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're asking the devil for water. Trump, now's your time to be a leader. He doesn't want to fucking lead. He wants you to be sick, angry, poor, uneducated, and well-armed. In that exact order. Because those people are easily manipulated. Those people can be sent to the Capitol and march to the Capitol, as he said on the ellipses, or on the steps of the let's say ellipses, the stairs of the Capitol on January 6th. This is what they want. They want us. I mean, don't forget 1984. Big Brother's most I'm paraphrasing here, but their most serious and final warning or command was for you to not to believe your eyes and your ears and listen to them. They're lies. You see what's happening. You see Renee Good saying, "It's okay, dude. I'm not mad." You see Alex Pretti saying, "Are you okay?" to a woman that they pushed and bear sprayed, pepper sprayed, whatever. These weak, insignificant men. Because Trump is a weak and insignificant man. And these people who believe that they have cultural control just because they have institutional control in a country that was built on asymmetrical institutional control. So they're not understanding why people aren't not happy to see them, or why I need to wear a mask, because we don't give a, because people don't like you. Don't forget, when there was the Great Depression, was also the Harlem Renaissance. Black people have always been able to find joy, be creative, find love, passion. All white people have ever had was institutional power. And if you think that's going to rule the day forever, look around you. Look around you. So, I was going to get into the, let me see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. Real quick here. Give me a second here, folks. Okay. Let's see what I got here. I was going to get into the Kanye West apology. I'm not going to do it because, I mean, fuck Kanye West, right? What does he mean? What does he matter to us, right? He made his apology basically saying that he has, he got into a car accident 25 years ago, and he spiraled, and his ADHD and all a bunch of others. He's blaming it on everything else. And the thing is, the reason why I never accept anybody's excuse, that's what it is, not an apology, it's an excuse. They're trying to explain away and excuse away. Of course, he says, "I'll take accountability and I shouldn't get a free pass." But in this apology, he's basically blaming it on mental health and his matrices of mental health issues. The reason why this is always bullshit when someone says it's the Ambien, like Roseanne Barr, or it was the alcohol is why I did X, Y, and Z, because there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with that exact same condition that do not do that. Him saying that he had some sort of issue with his brain and because he got into a car accident when he made through the wire and all this shit. But then he did George Bush, doesn't care about black people, during Katrina. But then when his relevancy fell off, he saw the train of MAGA, somewhat ascend, and he felt like he could glom onto that, and not only that, he gave license to people like a Nick Fuentes. Remember that? When Donald Trump had Thanksgiving dinner with Nick Fuentes, it was with Kanye West. Remember when Candace Owens had the White Lives Matter shirt during when we were grieving over George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor? These two motherfuckers wore White Lives Matter shirts in our faces. So this whole I need to come back, I need to figure out what's going on, and I want to, the black community is this, I'm sorry for being anti-Semitic. Motherfucker, fuck you. And there will be some folks out there that will say, well, it's okay. People go through seasons. Again, there's people out there who have these exact same problems that do not do this. Kanye West, man. Graduation wasn't that great to excuse this. College Dropout wasn't that great to excuse this. Through the Wire wasn't that fantastic to excuse this. Diamonds Are Forever wasn't that great to excuse this. Touch the Sky wasn't that great to excuse all this shit. So maybe there'll be some folks out there, and I'm sure there's some sort of grift around this. There's some sort of album coming soon, or some thick ass shoes with some big ass soles and ridiculous colors going forwards and backwards, made by Adidas. Again, this motherfucker sold a T-shirt with a swastika on it at last year's Super Bowl. Remember that he paid for a Super Bowl ad just to sell a singular T-shirt with a swastika. But he wants to come back. He's seeing the headwinds change. He's seeing people not like Trump. He's seeing people in the streets in the hundreds of thousands. He's seeing people willing to die to stop this shit. And he was on the side of power. The violent, the racist, the white supremacists, the Nazis, the anti-Semites, the anti-black people. Slavery was a choice. Man, don't forget this, man. Fuck Kanye West. But as we have one, we exchange another. Yesterday we talked about Onika Minaj. And yesterday, after she did all her bullshit and pomp and circumstance, last night was I don't know if you guys have been hearing that the Melania premiere is today. So I'm sure y'all have gotten y'all tickets to go see Melania. Melania, and they've been really struggling because it was a $40 million budget, $35 million marketing budget. And folks have been posting Fandango. You go on Fandango to buy movie tickets. The pre-selected seating. It's an ocean of blue. And that's probably a sign for them. It's an ocean of blue. There are no grayed out seats for Melania. Someone said, I'm going to go see Melania so I can get some time to myself. Things a flop. The thing, to flop, you kind of have to get up off the air and then this shit can't even get off the ground. It's flat. It's not even flopping. It's not even flip flopping. It's flattened. And so all this money, directed by Brett Ratner. If you guys know Brett Ratner, he directed Rush Hours. He directed, I think, one of the X-Men, and then was accused of sexual assault and with multiple women. One woman said that he was masturbating in front of her. Another woman said he forced her to give him head. And where did he flee to? Where did he flee to in 2023? Where did he flee to? Where did this sexual assaulter flee to? Israel. So he's been in exile for sexually assaulting people. He's the director. And Melania and Trump handpicked him to direct her bullshit documentary. What the fuck is this documentary going to be about? I come to country on Einstein visa, and I don't care. Get those other migrants, not me. I'm an Einstein, even though I'm just a naked model. And I used to date Jeffrey Epstein, and I met Donald Trump on Lolita Express, which is Jeffrey Epstein's plane. That's the first place I had sex with Donald Trump. And then you marry him, this old fucking ball sack, after you were trafficked yourself. Then you pop out one fucking kid, and then what? You get rich. What is this movie about? I mean, I do want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it to hate see it. You know how you hate watch something? I want to hate watch this, but I want to pay for it because I think in Australia they said it's sold one ticket, one pre-sale. Most movie theaters, if it doesn't sell like a certain amount, they don't even show the movie. So it's not even like you can just buy one ticket to go sit with your thoughts. Like if there's not I think maybe 8 to 10% isn't sold, they don't even show the film. But that didn't stop the D-list rollout of all these MAGA influencer, MAGA celebrities. MAGA celebrity ain't worth shit. They have nobody cool over there. They have nobody that people want to listen to or people respect or who are even relevant in Hollywood anymore. But I thought, let's see if I can find it here. Did I not upload it? Here we go. So this guy, I'll find his name on the back end, but he did a rundown of some of the folks who hit the black carpet. Check this out.
Viewing looks from the Melania movie Red Carpet. Melania premiered her new movie this evening with hardly a smile on her face, hand in hand with her husband for what feels like the first time, possibly ever. And the theme of this red carpet seems to be a reflection of this woman's colorful personality, as in everything was black and white. The floor was black, the outfits were black, the background was white with just Melania in black across the back, which when they took photos just cut off and said me across it, which feels very fitting. And for a woman known for her style, I have to say I was disappointed in Melania's look, which is more like something I would expect for her to wear to maybe a funeral. Although maybe she is mourning the death of this movie that is already a flop.
Ooh.
6 out of 5 stars. RFK Jr. attended the event looking as raggedy as ever. For a man that comes from such a fashionable family, I don't understand why every time he wears a suit it looks like he shouldn't be wearing a suit. So his thing with skinny ties scares me, and if you zoom in, this one has ladybugs on it. Why is this man always wearing ties with tiny animals on them, and why does nobody make fun of him for it? 3 out of 5 stars. Nicki Minaj arrived to the event just fully with her tits out, with some sort of keyhole cutout shape that I don't want to unlock. 2 out of 5 stars. Nick Johnson, to me, always looks like the Keebler elf. I don't really care what he's wearing, I'm just picturing him in my head wearing that silly elf hat. 5 out of 5 stars. Then we have the disgraced director Brett Ratner, who took his picture with this producer who looks slimy. At this point, Brett is probably just happy to have any image circulated of him that's not literally from the Epstein files. 0 out of 5 stars. Then we have more miscellaneous people from the Trump admin, like Steve Witkoff, who is really giving deer in headlights. Gov't Turner, who similarly just cannot figure out how to stand. He looks like a really uncomfortable alien who's just inhabited this body. 4 out of 5 stars. This is terrifying. I think she thinks she's serving, but she's really just giving serial killer eyes. Brooke Rollins is making a statement with that pattern in the fringe on her shoulders, and that pop of red with the clutch. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing. 6 out of 5 stars. And we have Linda McMahon also making a statement with this bright blue dress and this big white furry jacket. It's like that Sunday school teacher that you were really scared of. 7 out of 5 stars. And then we have our Secretary of Labor stunning on the carpet with these sock boots. It's kind of like if a Starbucks mocha frappuccino was incarnated as a human and then was getting dressed up to go to Target on Sunday. Probably mostly to harass the employees. 8 out of 5 stars.
Bravo, bravo. So, you have a rogues gallery of just ass hattery. And every person there, those are probably all the tickets sold, and those were probably free. The people that are going to go see this movie are the Trump administration. I don't even think MAGA is going to go see this movie, because what the fuck they give a fuck about some immigrant woman who is in power? That's against everything they stand for. Women, immigrants, power. So there is no audience for this besides a slush fund for Jeff Bezos to say, can you give Amazon some, some kickbacks, some deregulation, keep us in do some more AI deals and all this bullshit. We are in a oligarchy, a kleptocracy, and it's disgusting. But and as long as we have these capitalists that will continue to fund the erosion of rights for the rest of us, worker protections, anti-union, all these things are aligned with our police state. Because don't forget, the police used to bust up unions. The police union is not a union. It's the only non-union in the country, but we believe it's a union. So we have these people who are actively eroding our government with their wealth. And that is an oligarchy. That is a plutocracy, actually. Not even an oligarchy. It's a plutocracy. People that use their wealth in largesse to influence the government. So I wish Melania and Nicki Minaj all the worst in her keychain dress. But with that, we have these people here who, again, we're going to continue on. Today's episode is titled "The First Amendment is Dead." With that being said, we've got some new Alex Pretti clips. The right wing, Donald Trump Jr. posted this, and there was some back and forth if it was AI or not. It's kind of irrelevant now. At this point, I'm like, okay, if it is real, a lot of news outlets are posting and saying that it's real. But let's say it is real. Does this allow for the state to murder you? So let's check it out. It's only about a couple seconds, but check this out.
Fuck you guys! Fucking trash! Fuck you!
one thing white supremacy has always done is valued property over human life since the before times. This is why when an enslaved person ran away, that was property. That wasn't a person. They didn't care that your life was oppressed. They didn't care that we sold your children. They didn't care that we branded your face. They didn't care that we ate your flesh. They didn't care that we worked you until sundown. They didn't care that you were starving, that you only ate 3 pounds of meat and 1 peck of corn a month. They didn't care because you were property, and property must listen. Property is prioritized. Property is what this country runs on. So when you hear these right-wingers say, well, look at him, he's destroying property. Now, we've been hearing this for a long time as Black people. Well, they're destroying their own community. We don't own shit in this motherfucker. And these communities, well, they're burning down LA. It's their community. You put us here. It's a trap. It's called the projects. It's a project to see how long we can survive. It's a project to see what you do if you put people with no resources in the fight to then cling and try to make money in any way they can through selling drugs or their body, all these things just to survive in your capitalistic system. It's a project. So when you hear people say, they're burning down the road, they're breaking things, they're going to break down the neighborhood, just like the McCloskeys in Missouri. Oh my God. Property damage. You've murdered people. And hopefully y'all have realized now that property can be fixed. Renee Good, Alex Pretti, Keith Porter cannot come back. They can never say, I love you to the people they love. They can never share a funny tweet with someone again. They can never go get a cup of coffee. They can never go walk their dogs again. They can never, reassure a friend that's going to be okay. They can never do any of that stuff. But they want you to give a fuck about a taillight. A taillight of a car that you paid for. I paid for with our tax dollars. Because don't forget, these motherfuckers are using Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I used to work for Enterprise, my first job out of college. Enterprise Rent-A-Car is aligning with ICE, so you should not rent from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. This is what they want you to focus on. Not why was he protesting? He's protesting because you shot one of our community members, because you're tearing people away from their families, because you are a racist gang of Klansmen, and we want you out of our city, and we are not going to put up with you. The old poem, the Martin Niemöller poem, First They Came For My Neighbor, and I said, get the fuck out of here. That's what they're afraid of. So look at this. He did some property damage. Look at this. The tail light was tailing. Who's going to fix this? Jim's Auto Repair? I can't afford. Fuck y'all. And some of y'all have to really reshift your mind onto this, like, well, let's just put our heads down. Fuck these people. You take my kid from me, I'm dying. Either I'm dying or you're dying. So, but in response, as Austin, your pal Austin on Instagram had a very funny response to this. I'll play it here. It's about a minute.
Oh no! Fuck! I was on the internet saying that masked paramilitary agents from the federal government shouldn't be executing people in broad daylight on camera, but that's before I knew he kicked a car. Fuck me. I didn't know he kicked a car. Yes, I saw the part of the video where they were macing a group of people indiscriminately, and there were children in that group of people, so they were spraying children with mace. And I get that he was upset about that, but you can't kick a car or say the F word. I mean, come on! Fuck! I feel so stupid. Shit! I've wasted my life. Conservatives are always right about everything. Is it bad that thousands of people have gone missing from detention camps with no record? Yes. Does that probably mean that they killed those people? Yeah. Is that bad? Yes. Is it bad that the Trump administration was lawfully ordered to release the full unredacted files that almost certainly prove he is guilty of serial child rape, and that's most likely why he's escalating the use of state-sanctioned violence in Democrat cities to distract from all of that? Yeah, That's bad, but you can't kick a car about it. I'm such a fucking idiot. Everybody knows you can't kick a car. Everybody knows that. I'm gonna join ICE.
I'm gonna join ICE. This is what they think, because this is how they think. They have it because their politics is a baby brained, oh, you bad, I good. It's a very ooga booga level of politics, and they don't realize they're always aligning themselves with power, especially these local yokels around us. Yes, we're talking about the politicians, but I'm actually talking about the voters. Don't forget, these people believe this is law enforcement. We know it's not law enforcement. I've broken down multiple times. ICE is not law enforcement. They believe it's law enforcement. And the reason I say law enforcement is important to categorize it as such is because who passed the laws? So when we say, oh, it's Lindsey Graham, these people, well, who voted those motherfuckers in? Okay, we got to start putting pressure on the voting base. That is who did this shit. People don't just stumble, fall into office. They are voted in. And I get it. There's a lot of organizations right now. I was on the call last night. We're nonpartisan. We're kind of past all this shit. They're going to take away our accreditation. Use your fucking voice. We don't have time. The right wing, Turning Points USA is nonpartisan. Do you think they're nonpartisan? They're calling you fucking pedophiles and demon rats. They're the pedophiles and demon rats, ironically. But we're sitting here. I don't know. Can't tell you who to vote for. Then let me tell you what the system you're up against is. How about that? If you can't say Democrats and Republicans, and again, Democrats, I have my extreme scrutiny of, because they are the HR department of our government, meant to just absorb our anger and soft land that and tell you to write people. Okay, look, I get that, but one party is a fascist threat to your life. Okay, I need you to understand that, and they are not playing by anybody's rules. It's a maximalist posture, and the people that are voting for that are in your community, not in my community. We're getting A's and B's in the Black community. 92%, 80%. That's A's and B's. It's the folks that are failing, the folks who are in the 45%. Y'all got to do the work. You gotta sit there. You got to bust the books. You got to learn. Why are we doing this? What's happening here? Black folks, we got the A's and the B's, okay? I need, and our other brothers and sisters of the melanated majority, the Latinos and the Asians, they're passing. They're passing, right? They're in the 70s and it's passing. But the majority, the largest swath of that pie, wanted this. White voters. Not me. I voted for Kamala Harris. White voters. White voters. Let me give y'all the math one more time if y'all remember my rundown, my famous TikTok that went viral. Of the electorate, of the population, white people are 59% of the United States population. They are over-indexed within our electorate. They are 71% of our electorate. So that's from crazy, that's from Donald Trump to crazy far lefty, blue-haired barista who, is an anti-communist, is a communist and all this shit, right? So it's that swath is 71%. So think of 71 cents on a dollar. Of that 71%, that giant of a dollar, 71% is the white vote. 60% voted for Donald Trump, or almost 60%, 59%, 60%, just round up, 60% voted for Donald Trump. So when people are like, but black men are going towards Trump and Latino men, black people, going back to giving you guys some framing of this, are 13% of the population. And let me go back to how we're institutionally disenfranchised. And of our 13%, only 11% of the electorate. So do you see that? So just based on population versus how much of the electorate, we're already fucked. Because if white people are 59%, but 71% of the voting population, black people are 13% of the population and 11% of the electorate. And now that small 11 cents, because that's what 11% of the electorate would mean, that's from Herschel Walker, Tim Scott, to lefty leftist me. Of that percentage, though, the majority of those people voted against Donald Trump and against his administration. We had folks that we had, again, black women getting A's at 92%, and black men getting B's at 80%. Latinos are going to Trump. Latinos are 17% of the population, but only 14%. So they too are also disadvantaged. And the majority of them voted against Donald Trump. Yes, there was a swath of Latino men, but even then, when you break it down, it's the Cuban men. That was the true demographic. The numbers that I saw when I was chair, and we broke down, we got to the nitty-gritty. So it's just this lie that we have to put to bed. So the folks, if you're not making A's and B's, well, if it's in school, if your kids aren't making A's and B's, what you tell them? You got to bust them books. You got to understand why. All right. So big news from last night. I know we're at 50 minutes. This could probably go long. Folks are joining now. Today's episode is titled "The First Amendment is Dead," January 30th, 2026. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Radical Cruise podcast. If you can, please send us a donation as well. That's how we stay alive. Let me put this up here real quick before we go to our next hit here. Here's the QR code. Ooh, there we go. If you could scan that and send us a couple bucks, it goes a long way. Keeps this really cool platform going. And then we can report on the news that what I'm about to get to now about how journalism and how direct news, truth, and justice are all under attack. I'll put up a small QR code for in case y'all want to. There you go. Boom. Donate. So we heard news first thing this morning that Don Lemon of CNN fame. He was at CNN for 17 years. He has been a journalist for 30 years. We love a drunk Don Lemon. For New Year's, I'm sure y'all have seen drunk Don Lemon. He was arrested. You remember I reported on this a couple weeks ago at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, where some protesters led by I think her name is Nakia Levy Armstrong. She's an attorney and an activist who went in there to disrupt. They arrested her. They arrested the Minnesota leader of Black Lives Matter. Last night, they arrested Don Lemon and another journalist named Georgia Fort. Here's Sarah Seidner from CNN, who knew Don Lemon, reporting on it. My God.
This is huge this morning. Breaking news. My former colleague and friend and former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested in Los Angeles. Federal authorities arresting him. We believe it is over the...
Okay, could y'all hear that? Sorry. It's like the video wasn't popping up. Let me try one more time. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Here is Sarah Seidner again. I don't know what happened. Here we go. Let's try one more time.
This is huge this morning. Breaking news. My former colleague and friend and
Can you guys hear this?
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested in Los Angeles. Federal authorities arresting him. We believe it is over the entrance he made into a church here in Minneapolis where protesters went in. He went in as a journalist, which he was very clear about, and began interviewing different people there, including the pastor, who is also a member of the Immigrant Enforcement Agency. And he has now been arrested. They tried to arrest him last week with some of those who were protesting inside of the church. And a magistrate judge at that time said, absolutely not. You are not including journalists in this. Now we have learned, I have just learned this, another journalist, another independent journalist has also been arrested for the same thing, for going into that church to report on what was happening with the protests.
Okay, so this is insane. We have Don Lemon arrested. We have Georgia Fort arrested. And, I have her clip too, Georgia Fort. Maybe this one will play. We'll see. This is Georgia Fort. She's an independent journalist in Minneapolis, in the Twin Cities. Well-known, well-respected Black woman. And this is not shocking. This is happening to Black journalists. This is the same sort of intimidation that Ida B. Wells warned about when she herself had her printing press blown up. But here, let's see if this one plays. This is Georgia Fort.
You guys, I wanted to alert the public that agents are at my door right now. They're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours. and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised to go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here. They're impacted by this. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media. We are supposed to have our constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press, because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest a few weeks ago. Again, I don't have a long time here, you guys, but I wanted you to know, for me, agents are at my door right now. My attorney has spoken with them. I did send a relative outside to talk to them. They're showing some type of documentation, apparently, that they got an indictment from a grand jury. I knew that I was on a defendant's list. I did not publish it because it was under seal. And so we've done everything that we can to try and abide by, the advice of our attorneys. But right now, you guys, I wanted you to know I'm going to have to hop off here and surrender to agents as a member of the press. I filmed the church protest a few weeks ago, and now I'm being arrested for that. It's hard to understand how we have a...
Okay, so I guess that didn't work, or at least the footage didn't work. So I'm sorry about that, folks. But you guys heard her. That's Georgia Fort. Again, well-known journalist, Black woman. Her kids were there. Don Lemon, we all know Don Lemon. And there was multiple times in that video where he said, I am not with these people. I am just journalist. I'm just journaling this. I'm chronicling this. And they're being arrested for it. At what point do we say, I'm so sick of the word we're sliding into fascism. We're tiptoe. Ain't no slipping, ain't no tipping. We up in that bitch. We up in fascism. All the shit you read about during in middle school and high school, and Anne Frank, and scary things are happening outside. People are being taken from the streets that she read, that she wrote about in her diary. It's happening. But that's not me. That's Minneapolis. I gotta get to the bag. This is why I get so fucking mad at my cohort of Black men who don't give a fuck, who could tell you everything about, like, what's going on with the Super Bowl and NFL and NBA and college football, but they couldn't tell you what amendment is being trampled on, which puts their lives and their wives' lives and their girlfriends' lives and their kids' lives in danger. Yes, this is absolutely on white people. Again, I'll go back to, this is a white people problem, but we have to be aware. And all this, I'm shining on you, and look at my Mercedes, and look at it. This shit they will take all this shit from you. Harkening back to Nazi Germany, I know we like to go back to the slave patrol, but the enslaved captives, because they're not slaves, they're held captives, did not have wealth prior to, and then were put into enslavement, right? The concept of wealth and fortune was not a part of the economic system in Africa, right? It was communal, right? Our ancestral ties wasn't about, like, do you have more things than that person? So even that concept did not exist prior to our captivity. In Europe, Jewish people were absolutely doctors and lawyers and had these forms of wealth, and had that stripped from them by the Nazis. Had their gold in their teeth taken out. They wanted all that shit, all that gold, their expensive shoes, their watches, their pearl necklaces, all that fancy dresses. And they thought they wanted to sell it for wealth. They just didn't want them to have it. That's why there is that monument, which is a pile of shoes. Some of them very nice shoes, no shoelaces in them. So when people are like, I don't know, I got to get to the bag, I got to get to this, got to get to that, you're a fucking embarrassment. I'm talking to my brothers. You're a fucking embarrassment. You should absolutely know what the fuck is going on in your world. I don't get into politics. Okay, thug. That's what politics calls you. Go look in that mirror, thug, criminal. I don't get into all that. Okay, it gets into you. We got to wake up. Don Lemon and Georgia Fort did nothing wrong. They were exercising their First Amendment. They were both credentialed journalists to document the disruption. And we're sitting here still saying, well, how do we appeal to these people? Fuck these people. Listen to black people. We will tell you that there is nothing you can get out of this. You have to fight these motherfuckers. Fish your fists. Or worse. Again, you try to take my daughter, my son from me, one of us is dying. I ain't making it out. But I told my son two summers ago, we were talking about police brutality. And he was 8 at the time. He's 10 now. I said, when you get older, son, if something was to ever happen where you get, captured by the police and you feel like they're about to, I said, I don't give you the right to allow the state to kill you. I don't give you the right to allow yourself to go out. I said, I don't give you the right to let them just capture you on some bullshit. You fight for yourself. Fight for yourself. Fuck it. They want you to be demoralized. They want you to be dehumanized. I could treat this nigger how I want to. Shut the fuck up, nigger. And then the black cops even worse. So I'm sure when those officers showed up to Don Lemon, who was covering the Grammys, he was with Busta Rhymes last night, and Georgia Fort, I'm sure there were some black agents up in there. And the worst thing about black agents is they perform even worse. They perform even higher. So we're going to follow Don Lemon, justice for Don Lemon. But when I talk about, and I don't know if this is going to work because now the videos don't seem to be working. But if not, I'll maybe play it on Sunday with Rom. But before we get out of here, we got a couple more clips, y'all. Sorry, I know it's just, God, there's a lot to get to. A lot to get to. Did I not upload it? Oh, I didn't upload it. That's on me. Yeah. Okay. Well, there was a video of this officer who is a piece of shit. You know what? I got it here. Here, let's go here. But I don't know if I can see. I don't know if I could share the screen. God darn it. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. Let's see here. Oh, but here's a statement from Abby Lowell, who's actually Don Lemon's attorney. I haven't pulled up on my screen. Let me read this here. Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Justice Department, the Trump Justice Department, is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest. And that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and throughout court. Again, and that's a good point. They are not investigating the murders of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. But they are investigating Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. They are not investigating Renee Good, who was shot by Jonathan Ross, 3 bullets to the face and called a fucking bitch. Did not allow her to get medical treatment. She was alive for 8 minutes, bleeding out, twitching, blood splurting out, blood getting on her kids' toys. They're not investigating Alex Pretti, who was there watching these fucking pigs, these no nut having bootlickers, these white supremacists. who were clapping with the bullets as they were shooting him, doing a mag dump, popping him full of bullets. They're not investigating them white boys who killed white people. They're investigating the two Negroes, like Ida B. Wells, W.B. Du Bois, who stood up and said, not on my watch, not today. And y'all talking about, well, it's going to meet them in the middle. Stop being so crazy. This country has always been right wing. This country has never not been a right-wing country. You can't name me a year. You can't name me an era. You can't name me a decade. You can't name me an epoch. You can't name me a century when this country was not right-wing. They're just showing you. So when y'all keep talking, I'm a moderate. Moderate in a right-wing society? What are you fucking talking about? The arc of the moral arc of the history is long, but bends towards justice. But it doesn't bend by its goddamn self. People have to reach out and grab that bitch and pull it towards justice. Do you think a moderate's going to do that? Do you think a moderate thinks that shit needs to be bent at all? Bending it, we can't bend that. Don't bend that. You're bending that. It shouldn't be bent. It should be straight. What? The long arc of history, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. Are we going to bend that shit or what? Renee tried to bend that shit. And she did bend it. That's why you remember her name. Alex tried to bend that shit, and he did. That's why you remember his name. Don't let them fucking die murdered in vain. Especially white folks. Do you see what we've been talking about for hundreds of years? We have to get better. We have to get better. But the only way to get better is to look this shit dead in the eye. You can't sit here and be like, well, I don't know. And, my uncle, he's a good cop. There's a reason ICE, there's this comedian said, you've never seen a parent say, I'm a proud parent of an ICE agent. These motherfuckers have wives. I'm sure they call them bitch wives. Punch my bitch wife. She where's my dinner at? Oh, baby, how was dinner today? Well, I threw an abuelita down the stairs. That was fun. Because she was getting all uppity with me because she's a bitch and I'll shoot her in the face. It's infuriating that we're sitting here normalizing this. But these are the same people that will say me having locks is inherently violent. You know how I know that? Because they said that about me. A fucking mayor in an adjacent city from where I live right now, named Robert Burns, said I tried to murder him, get him murdered, because I said that he's a fucking racist, because he fucking is. Accountability will soon be tantamount to state violence if we don't stand together. But if we allow black people who tell the truth and hold them to account with their journalism and their artistry and their truth telling to be on an island, we're still going to tell the truth no matter what. Because you're trying to be safe, there will be no one there with you when the time comes forward. Because one thing Negroes love is someone else's fight, as Van Lathan says. We will always show up. We may not show up in the bullshit. We're going to do a bake sale. What if every time ICE arrests somebody, this is a tweet, what if every time ICE arrests somebody, we're gonna bake a cake? Look, y'all are ridiculous. Okay, y'all get it together. I was on a call last night with black folks organizing, educating one another. We don't have time for y'all performative shit. There are reams of books. There are libraries full of information that will tell you what y'all need to do right now. Do you have the humility to say, I don't know it all? Now I listen to these black folks, these Latino folks, these Asian folks, these queer folks. They've been doing the work for decades and centuries. I need to listen to them. Now, let's just be happy. Fuck y'all happiness. Happiness is not what we need. We need truth, justice, equality. If that's not the center of your politics, you gotta get the fuck out the way. You are a hindrance. You are dead weight. You gotta figure it out. Well, I don't know if this video is gonna work either, but this is a funny video. I mean, we're at an hour 10, folks. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep these to 30 minutes, but there's so much shit to get to, and you know, send me some comments here. No limit, 99 RBS. All of this just ends up losing in court. Facts. He's losing a lot in court. He's losing a lot. A whole lot. But doesn't mean people aren't dying in the meantime. People aren't being brutalized. People aren't being traumatized. Kids seeing their parents emasculated by these men. Mothers raped. I'm with you on the courts. He's losing the court. And I want him losing the courts. Do not get me wrong. But it's going to take more drastic action. When people think, well, if we just vote in the midterms, it'll all change. This shit ain't going to change the midterms. When people think the most radical thing you could do is vote, I have to remind them, how do you think Black people got the right to vote? Do you think that we freed ourselves from slavery through multiple slave revolts, through killing, Missy and the kids, putting glass in the food and, smothering the child, burn the house down? Look, you enslaved me. It's fair fucking game, baby. We freed our fucking selves. Then there was 100 years of legalized apartheid. You're not a human being. 3/5 a person, basically. You can't eat here, can't sit here, can't work here. You can't pay into Social Security. Don't get Social Security. You don't get shit. But a billy club upside the head. As James Baldwin said, when Black folks did the Great Migration from the South to the North, they fled the hangman's noose of the South for the billy club of the North. And sinners, when Sammy asked him, "Oh, what's Chicago like?" He said, "It's like Mississippi with tall buildings." Y'all gotta wake up. Y'all gotta wake up. I don't know if this is gonna work. This is my final clip. Let's see if it doesn't work. I'll turn it off really quickly. This is a funny video, at least. Let's leave on a high note. Well, before I play this clip, what can we do? I get asked that question a lot. What can we do? What can I do? Well, you live somewhere. Treat your block like if you are the president of that, as if your block was a country. Right? So if your block was a country, does the trash run on time? Are the lights on? You can start getting civically active right where you are. You live somewhere. You are somebody. Stop waiting on someone else to come do some shit. Your HOA ain't shit. Fuck them. Well, I want to do this. I'm going to organize the Pope folks on my block, and we're going to say our power as residents is to do this. Oh, we're in a renter association. They're not fixing the black mold. You go start knocking on doors. Is your kid coughing? Is your paint peeling? Is your water not coming out? Okay, look, I know. Let's all work together. Start doing some shit. Because the only antidote to anxiety is action. So that's my call to action for y'all. Is start doing some shit. Everybody lives somewhere. Everybody, if we all come together and show our collective power to these small people that want to be the landlords of our life, that want to be the managers of our life, that want to be the CEOs of our life, that want to be the presidents of our life, we show them the people will always outmaneuver the power. So please do something. Get involved. Here we go. Funny clip. But if I can't post this, I will post it on my social medias. You guys can find it at payron.baxter on my Instagram. I know I uploaded this one. I know I just seen it. There it is. Okay. Let's see if this works, folks. Let's see. Here we go.
Somebody asked if Trump died overnight, would you want to be awoken out of sleep? Yes. What kind of fuck ass question is that? You better break through my do not disturb. I want to hear an Amber Alert. I need to hear a nuclear defense system going off, a tornado fucking drill. I want to hear bullets flying in the air like somebody trying to keep rent low. I need something. I need to wake up in the morning and see it on a front motherfucking page, and then I'm buying 2 copies, one for myself to frame and laminate, the other one to sell on eBay so I could clear some debt. Put a Dixie cup in my house and wake me up like you a Boy Scout trying to send something. I want to see some ghetto ass flyers. I need to see a Trump is slump. Let's hump, hump, hump. I'm gonna be out on them streets shaking some ass, but I need to know.
That'll be me too, shaking some ass. Folks, thanks for tuning to the Roots Rundown. It was a little bit long. It's a Friday show. So some good comments. Suzanne, I see you here, sister. I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to see. I see some of your quotes here, some of your posts here. Thanks for encouraging us. Actions speak louder than words. Damn right. Get involved. Do something. There's another one from you, Suzanne, again. And I'm over here wanting to have a society rooted in love for each other. Definitely need reparations when we get through all this. If we have a country to save, damn right. State, city, home, and even left. Home even left. Truth, justice, equality, all the way, P. Damn right, sister. So folks, it's been fantastic. I don't want to take too much of y'all time up. And sometimes when folks see these things like online, like it's an hour 15, I'm not watching that because we have very short attention spans. But please like, share, subscribe to the Radical Cruise podcast. Tell people to join the Roots. We got to have a name. What's our name, y'all? So real quick before we go, what's the name for the Roots family? What are we going to call ourselves? The Braids? The Roots? I don't know. Someone give me one name before we go. Let's post it up. We won't judge it. We won't judge you too harsh. What's a name for the Roots community? The Remunity? I don't know. Ooh. The power to the people. Okay, well, that's just in general. I'm with you on that. No Limit 99 RBS. The Radicals. I mean, they're going to call you that regardless. Oh, no, he's a radical. He wants people to have rights. She wants people to have rights. They're a radical. Yeah, I hear you. I like that. Let's see. Root Rioters from Liz. Okay. Root Rioters. Again, they're already thinking that we're violent people. So I don't know. Look at that. Look at his hair. He's rioting just by being here. These are some good names though. We got to workshop it, right? Listen, we got to workshop it. And again, someone's saying the radicals. Susan just said that, or excuse me, Suzanne just said that. Again, they're gonna call you that shit anyway. But no, it's been fantastic kicking with y'all. I know it's been a little bit longer today. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Radical Cruise podcast. I'm going to keep saying that because I'm trying to get better at saying that. Here is the QR code. I'm trying to get better at even pointing where it is. Blah, 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 blah. There you go. Blah, 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 blah. And again, y'all have a great weekend. And if I don't see y'all on Sunday, I'll definitely be back next Tuesday with more Roots Rundown because I'm sure. I'm sure this one's funny. Roto-Rooters. I'm sure your husband has his hands full. Folks, thank you so much for watching the Radical Cruise podcast. We will see y'all next week. Peace.